Hello, Jeff Helvin here with Ballen Brands, and today I want to do a little walkthrough on the general widgets that we can use in Elementor. Now, I say general widgets because they are labeled as general. In Elementor, we have favorites that we can save if there are certain ones that we use, so that could be general ones, basic ones, pro ones. There's also the basic widgets. So basics, what they consider the most commonly used ones: spacers, dividers, buttons, videos, things like that. Pro is all the ones that are available when you have the Pro version of Elementor, which is the upgraded license. And any websites that we build for our clients, we do provide the Pro version as just part of your service. So you do get all of those if you're one of our clients. Then we have general. There's also site, single, and podcasting in particular because we have a podcast feature in there, and then some WordPress specific ones. So these are all different widgets categorized differently based on what we use. There's already videos on the other widgets as well, but we're going to click on general here and focus on these today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through each one so you can kind of see how these play out for us. First thing is we have the image box. Okay, so we drag that over. An image box basically is just, it's an image with an actual, like a heading and then a description. So this can also be accomplished by, individual elements, dragging over an image, dragging over a header, and dragging over a text area. But in this case, it's grouped together to make things a little easier to manage, and it's really to feature an image in particular. So I can simply choose the image out of my media library, whichever one I want to use here. Okay, and then I can give it a title. I can fill that out here. And then it asks, what image size. We want to go full, we want to do customs, or different sizes that we want to play with that. So we have a lot of options when it comes to all of that. And then, of course, the actual description is an option here as well. So I can choose whether to make it left justified, to kind of wrap text around the image. I can make it right justified, or I can have it hovering over top as well. And then I can also change what kind of heading this is. So H2, H1, a lot of controls with all of that. So like with any widgets that we have in Elementor, we can also click on styles and change those elements to it. There's some advanced features on classes and layouts and different things too. But this particular one is really meant to kind of group together images in order to keep everything cohesive. So again, if you don't want a heading, well then you would maybe just use an image and a thing. Or if you want to make sure the image is wrapped to the left around text, you can do that. But if I add another piece of content down here, it's not going to also wrap up there. So you want to use these in the right areas, or at least for the right purposes. So this is really going to be more focused on maybe events, right? If you're going to have like an events page, that would be really good to have a flyer, then a heading and a description, and just have that pretty consistent. So that is one option. We'll go ahead and delete that here. There's also icon box. So same concept as the image, except for they use the icon feature. So when you can see that, again, a heading, a description, you'll see a lot of the same fields and options here. Again, just to kind of show you the other way, or kind of how these are referenced, is under basic, I can have an image and I can also have an icon. So it's the same things, it's just whether or not the icon is something that isn't image like media driven. It's actually more just a graphic, or it's a style that looks like a particular image. So if I do want to continue to use things like the icon because I don't have images in particular, then I can do that, and the icon I can actually choose, and it's going to let me pull from this icon library. The cool thing about icons is they can be colored, and they can also change and expand in size, kind of like fonts. They're basically like a graphic that's a font. So it's a really cool way to use these different things, because again, I can easily then just change like the color of it. For example, if I wanted it to be orange, right, you just change it orange. So whereas like an image, of course, it's just whatever the image is. So this is a very useful thing. We definitely use it on our websites in a lot of different cases, because it's a great way to kind of decorate the page, make it look a little more substantial there. All right, so that's the icon box. Now we have the star rating. So I can pull that over, and this is pretty simple, as you can see. Rating scale 0 to 5, you can go 0 to 10, right? Show the 10, and then what is the actual rating. So you can kind of bump that up, and you'll see the stars are filling in as I go. Then, what icons are we using? There's this Unicode option, which is just kind of the straight narrow stars, and there's the font awesome, which is what pulls in those icons. Unmarked style, do I want it to look like this, or do I want it to look like that? Are they filled in or not filled in, right? A lot of different options there. And then, of course, we can give it a title. This is my review. We want to do it that way. Alignment options, of course, just like anything else. But again, just a nice little, widget that we can use to kind of give more of that style, that user feedback type style. All right. Then we have the image carousel. So image carousel is a really cool one too, because this allows us to input multiple images and have it actually like rotate through. Okay, so let's pull out a couple examples here. So we'll go with here's a couple charities that we support, right? So I'm selecting multiple of those. Let's go ahead and just insert gallery. All right, so basically what it's doing here is it's going to rotate through. Now, because it has room for 3, it's just showing this is it repeating already. But the idea of this is that it goes, it can just go through however many that there are. So if I added more, let's go ahead and add a few more options here. Go to gallery, add to gallery. We'll click on a couple other options here. Let's just choose a couple random pieces there. Add to gallery, insert gallery. All right, so now you'll see I'm kind of rotating through. So if you have multiple images that you're going to rotate through, maybe it's like a portfolio, you could do it that way. If they're logos, maybe companies that you've helped and you want to have all the different company logos in there, that's a way to work that. Now you have the option, slides to show how many of them do you want to show at a time, how many are scrolling at a time, whether or not we're stretching the images or not. We don't recommend stretching images usually. Do you want to have the arrows and the dots? Are we going to link any of this up, right, to maybe another gallery or a caption for it? So a lot of different options here. You can also autoplay it or not autoplay it. Really look through these details and features, and you can see there's quite a bit that you can do with this particular widget, which is really cool as well. All right, then we got the basic gallery. So I can click on basic gallery. Same thing here where I'm going to choose the multiple images, but it's going to format it in a different way. Let's just go ahead and add several images here, insert gallery. And so you'll see what this is doing is actually, how many columns do I want it to have? Well, let's say we only want it to have 3 columns so that I get stacked a little bit better, right? And then am I linking it to the media file is what I have it selected to now. So each one will actually open in a larger window if I click it, which is a really nice feature. And then we have the option, get out of there, go back to edit. And then, so Lightbox, this is the style. Do we want it to open a certain way? Do we want it ordered in a certain particular order of maybe what was added most recently? Again, styles as always, advanced features as always in all of these as well. But just a nice, easy way to kind of lay out multiple images to make it look a little bit more like a gallery. All right, then we have the icon list. Let's look at that one. So this allows us to actually choose. It's a list item, but it's a list feature, right? That has things in order, but it has this icon also. So the point of that is I can actually change. If I want them all to be the X's, I can actually just go and change them all to whichever particular ones I want it to be. Okay, so you can choose different icons in each of these to list a certain way. So sometimes you might do this as a way of yes, no, maybe. Might have different icons there, but you could also make all the icons exactly the same as well if you wanted them all to be, the star, for example. I can choose that, type in star. Let's make it that one. Right, so I can, each of these items here, I can actually change to be consistent as well. So you can use all the same, so we have nice, instead of just a bullet point or something simple like that, I can do it that way. And then of course I'm just changing what I want it to say here, item 3, right? So really simple, easy to use. I can link them off to different pages and things if there's more information about each of those. Really nice, cool feature. Of course, like I said, just built right into Elementor, which is another reason why we like this tool. All right, so then we have the counter. Check this one out here. So this one it's a pretty popular one. You've probably come to websites where you load a page and then you see some things kind of scrolling up. So it's pretty cool because you have the starting number and the ending number, and it just adds an element of dynamic, content, or what looks like dynamic, something moving, calling attention. You can change everything from like how quick it counts to, let's change this to 5. See how much slower it runs now when it goes through that. It's being a little weird because I'm clicking on things, but gives you an idea here of just kind of how that can roll through. So it's a pretty cool feature. Again, just another way to spruce up the page a little bit, right? Spice it up a little bit, and then we can again do different styles, colors, things of that nature as well. So really cool feature there if you want to utilize that one. Then we have the progress bar. So same thing again, progress bar, just another movement piece, right? Let's say we're doing, you're halfway there to getting your website developed, right? For your professional website online. So we might do something like that. So this says my skill and shows, so you can kind of use it as, they're kind of using a feature like it's on a resume maybe. But we might use it from a marketing perspective to kind of show like, oh, choose your logo 25% the way there. Choose your choose your theme 25% the way there. Choose your package 50%. So we could actually have this throughout the page kind of show the different, how close you are to getting your website going, for example. So another cool dynamic feature, kind of like the numbers that counts up. This is another one that does a cool count feature. Of course, testimonials, great way to add these to the page. Very simple. You can choose the actual person, that gave the testimonial, for example. So let's say this gentleman gave us a testimonial. Insert, right? So it's got him. We put the testimonial in there. It's all just baked in here. Again, everything's responsive. Just kind of touch on that point. Responsive, and things will collapse in design. You don't have to get overly skilled or try to overdo how much you're trying to put in place here. You don't have to know a lot of code. You don't have to, it's a really cool way to just better layout and design, just give you a lot more options. If you're using WordPress Gutenberg, the built-in Gutenberg, you'll notice you just don't have these types of blocks. You have other blocks. There's definitely what they call blocks instead of widgets. There's definitely a lot of options there, but not quite this, like the animated style, and it's just not organized the same way. So we find this is a very effective tool for us to build our client websites in because it's easy to use and manage. Tabs, let's pull that over here. So, look at this, tabs. Like this is definitely another one where we get a lot of feedback on what people are trying to put on the tab, or they have multiple tabs on a particular page because, sometimes we have a lot to offer and we don't really know how to organize it. So tabs is a great way. This could say like the process, the system, whatever, right? We can have different things, and when they click on it, it's just going to show the content for each of those tabs. Now, the layout of those pages, it might be a little limited because we're using just kind of this editor. So it's not meant to have like multiple styles, and this has a list format, this one doesn't, and whatever. Like we're still kind of at the mercy of these available options for this particular feature. There's other ways to accomplish this, but more advanced and designer ways, not necessarily built-in ways to, where it doesn't require some coding. But this is a really cool feature if you're just trying to kind of show like this, or this, right? Like let them choose something that they might want to use. All right, so let's go on to the next one, Accordion. All right, so this is often used for like a frequently asked questions, things like that, because this is a way where I could have all the questions, and then when I click on the answer, then it pulls it down. Some people might use this in a way where, like if it's just about us and they just want part of the content there, like I could say, just click on that, we'll say about us, right? And then I can click down to actually see the information about. You could do that too, but again, really useful kind of in that frequently asked questions format if you like that style where it has all the questions and then you click on it to get the answers. So that's what the accordion does. All right, then we have toggle. Pull that over here. So toggle is really similar to accordion. However, it kind of has you can decide like an on or off type feature with the toggle, but you'll see it kind of has that similar format. And then it also has like the icon library and different things that you can do in those toggles. So again, might be built in. Now you'll see this one has this FAQ schema. You can turn that on. So this is really good for search engines and how they, when people ask questions, how they might pull up your website. So this is another good feature if you're really into the SEO part of it. So let me actually just double check again on the accordion. I didn't see that, but oh yeah, the accordion also has that FAQ schema feature. So again, really cool feature built in there because it allows you, again, to be better optimized for search engines on how they're pulling content from your website. And of course, we all definitely want to have more search engine traffic. It's great to have the SEO. So I'm going to pull these here side by side, accordion and toggle. Oops. So just so you can kind of see the difference in these two. So they function very similarly. It's just whether or not we're using icons or not using icons. Again, a lot of the same features here on the side on what we can control. So really just kind of whichever you prefer there. All right. Okay, so next one, toggle. So then social icons. This one's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy, but it has, again, it's using kind of your built-in, I can add an item, choose which icon I want it to be, right? These are all the different icons that I can select from here. And then, of course, when I just click on it, I'm just going to simply, do I want it the official color? Do I want it a custom color? I can choose a custom color if you want these to be different. Or then, of course, I can put the link to it as well. Do I want it to open in a new window? A lot of features there that we can kind of build in, but really simple, right? Really easy to use. You can just kind of bake those in anywhere we need to. And I know it sounds silly, but like even just putting 4 images next to each other on a regular WordPress web page, like isn't as simple as it seems like it should be. So it's kind of nice to have this built in, this feature, to be able to do that right here in the interface. Super simple. All right, alert. Okay, so alert, the idea of this one is that it stands out, right? You have the option to do this dismiss, show or hide, right, if we want to get rid of that alert. So we might use alert, especially on, maybe like if we're building a website that has how-tos or tutorials, we might use the alert feature as, don't forget, don't miss this particular piece, something like that. But we have, again, just kind of a simple colored box. I can change the color of the box and the background, things like that as well. But again, just certain layout, certain things, just to make it a little easier to manage that particular option. All right, not overly sophisticated, some of this stuff, but it's super easy to use. SoundCloud, that's a popular podcasting service. So you'll see in here, you can actually have, this gives a sample of what that looks like. So there's a widget built right in for that where I can autoplay it. Do we have the buy button options, all of that stuff. It's all built in and configured here, so you don't have to try to build this from scratch. So really super useful feature there. Of course, the link and make it have multiple SoundClouds, like that pulls up different links or different things. So again, if you're doing podcasts or content, kind of musical or audio content, then we can use the SoundCloud feature that's built right in. All right, shortcodes. So shortcodes are used in WordPress. They kind of originated in WordPress, where we're able to put in a particular code that would then display something else. Now, usually shortcodes are pulled in from third-party plugins that don't have things like widgets like we can do here in Elementor, and so we might put in a shortcode. As a matter of fact, there's a plugin called like Ultimate Shortcodes, and there's a lot of little codes, and you'll see what that looks like here, this code. Kind of looks like this, it's got a bracket, and then it talks about a certain gallery and which ID I want it to show. So shortcodes used to be how we would do a lot of this stuff that we're doing now in the Elementor widgets. So it's really nice to have this feature baked in as well now, where I can just plug that in so I know it's contained in a particular spot and easy to add to my website. If you don't know what shortcodes are, you're probably not in the need, probably don't need to use them, so you don't have to worry too much about that. HTML, let's pull that over. So this is the one that I would use if I'm actually like a coder, or I have an HTML block, or maybe I'm inserting a third-party widget on the page and there's a JavaScript code or something like that. This is where I'd put that HTML code. So what I do is I put the actual HTML code here. Let's do a sample of that. So ahref, see how it's actually like helping me do it, and then I'll say, ballenbrands.com. And then I'm going to close that, and we want it to say Ballen Brands. Okay, so you'll see all of that code basically just made a link over here. That's all that did. So if you have code to copy and paste in, it might be a widget, it might be a pixel code of some sort or something like that. Maybe a chat, like a chat feature code, that might be an option. So those are all different options that we can do here just by using that HTML widget. All right, getting down here. So then we have the menu anchor. So this is what we use in order to pull down to areas of the page. So for example, we'll use this one, for example, about. So I could type in about, and then anywhere further up on the page, I could link to this anchor. So it's called an anchor because it basically pulls you down to that particular spot. So that's the idea of how this works. Some of the widgets that we use, like a table of contents widget, things like that, kind of have built-in anchors, so we don't have to do that. But if you are trying to create a way to get from the top of a page to the bottom of a page or vice versa, you would use this anchor feature. So again, built right into Elementor for us to utilize. Sidebar. It's a nice one. So sidebar is just how it sounds. Basically, we don't have any sidebars built in this particular theme, so we can't pull a sidebar in. If we have themes that have sidebars, or we have sidebar widgets and things like that, we can actually choose the sidebar so it pulls specifically on this page. Not on all pages like some of them do, or not just on the blog pages, but this is actually a way for us to choose an actual sidebar that's been configured in WordPress itself. So again, if you're not familiar with that or don't have anything configured or anything like that, you're really not going to utilize this feature, but if you are trying to get a sidebar on the page, that's going to be the way to do it. All right, read more. So this widget only affects themes that use the content in archive pages. So same thing, this is going to be specific to like on a blog page where you have like a blurb, and then it has the read more option. So we pull this into that page to better control how that page is laid out or what it's going to say. So in this case, it says continue reading. We might want to change it to read more. We might want to change it to learn more, right? So you have that option to do that, but it is specific to kind of a more advanced feature, we'll call it, to the themes in particular that are using those, what they call the archive pages, which would be like blog listings. Sometimes if you have like a reviews plugin or something like that, that's considered an archive page. So that controls that language there. Strong testimonials. So this one, same thing here where it's actually pulling in, how are we pulling this in? So you see how it just did this? This is considered a shortcode, actually. So I could use this shortcode in a shortcode spot if I wanted to do that as well. But you'll see this has kind of some different features that are built right in. Again, not highly used, but an option if we have multiple things configured and we want to lay it out in a certain way, that is an option as well, but most likely you won't be using that particular feature very often. And then text path. So this one's a cool one. So this actually allows us to do, again, in the format of doing dynamic texting or dynamic features, you can actually have something that looks like this here, which is pretty cool. So you can do a wave, you can do a circle, you can do an arc, lots of different options here. Just a way, again, to kind of have a little more decoration, if you will, on the page, or to lay it out a different way. So you can, have these features. Let's center this one, for example, right? So that's centered into there. So if I want this to be a full arc, I need to have more text, right? Lots of different things. Again, just a way to, now I can't put anything like in the middle of it. I could have like an image background or something that this wraps around. But you know, again, it has to have a certain purpose. Okay, we don't usually recommend doing these just for the sake of doing them. But if we were building a website that was maybe featured toward kids or something like that, we wanted things to be more fluid and free and fun, you know, we could use even this, right? That's going to have this curve. I could have a whole, you know, sentence that's like done this way. So that might be one feature, or maybe I want to have this and then I have another one below it and kind of create that different options. You know, those are things too. So, you know, again, you're not going to use all of these all the time. There's definitely a few that are just specific instances. But you'll see just a lot of flexibility in the Elementor platform in general. You know, easy to add your testimonials, you know, your lists, of course, super helpful. You know, using the HTML widgets, those codes are just built right in. So all of these things, again, galleries, right, photo galleries, things like that, very popular features that are really easy to add to the website. You know, get more out of your visitors, show them more of your work, you know, things like that. So a lot of great features, like I said, built right into Elementor. So that is it. Those are the general widgets that we have built in. Again, explore the widgets. If you have any questions on any of this, by all means, you can reach us at team@ballenbrands.com.